So welcome into this beautiful day and this wonderful life that is yours. And today, and for the rest of the week, because we always go away with a task. And it's the task that makes the difference in our lives. As I say to everybody who comes to class, what happens in class is not the important thing at all. It's what happens in between classes that is important. And so the question is, how are you? How are you? However, if you were all to answer that question today, we'd be here a long time. So it has a context, the question. And the question's context is, how are you in your life just now? How is your life just now? What is that looking like to you just now? Feeling like to you just now? Are you happy with it? Are you not so happy with it? And all the various shades in between. That's the question, because it's a question you and I could ask ourselves regularly and be amazed by some of the wonderful insights we can glean as a result. Because we want to know consciously how our lives are, and we want to be able to direct it consciously. At least I do, and I know you do too. That's why you're in this room with me. One mind, and we're all in it. And so, to think of your life, you can think of it in many ways, in very many ways. But I want you to ponder this with me just now. Imagine this just now. If somebody was to invite you to embark upon a journey, and they said to you, now, you won't know when and where the journey is going to begin. And you certainly won't know when and where the journey is going to end. And you have no compass and you have no map and there are no guidelines. And there will be certain things you will be expected to discover and learn on your way, but you have to find that out for yourself. As well as that, you will be met with certain situations and circumstances that you will be challenged by, but you have to figure that out and get through that yourself. On top of that, you have to keep going every single day on this journey, whether you like it or not, or want it or not. There's no turning back. And also, as you move through this journey, you will accumulate possessions. But at the end of the journey, you have to hand them all in. And then, added to that, you probably haven't got a clue why you're on the journey. You don't know what the purpose of the journey is. But never mind. There'll be plenty of people to tell you what it is. And then there'll be more people to tell you that at the end of your journey, you may be punished or rewarded as a result of the journey. Now, if that offer came your way, could you not stand yourself until you got going and started out on that journey, in spite of all the things you didn't have, or were not available to you, and you hadn't got a clue, and you weren't in the mood anyway? Well, it's a moot point, because you're on the journey, you're in it, it's your life. It's your life. So that is why I'm saying to you, it's a very good thing to tune in every now and again and ask ourselves, well, where am I on this journey? How is my life? How is it going? What's it all about, Alfie? Or Moira, as the case may be. What's it all about, Moira? Oh, sometimes if I keep myself busy enough, I don't even have to ask the question, and then everything is okay, I tell myself. If you're that busy and you can't have a minute to ask yourself the question, I tell myself, oh, it must be all okay anyway. And it works until I'm not that busy. And then, of course, I can't remember when I wasn't that busy. But anyway, maybe this is all about me. I don't know. Maybe Spirit is saying this is what you need to look at. It's funny the way that works out, but anyway, I digress. And so, say for example, our life was a book, and indeed it is a book. But you know what? So much has been written about, recorded about, told about life and living since time immemorial. I mean, the philosophers, the scientists, the religionists have told us so much about life and living. And yet, for my own personal story, I have to be the one that authors that. I have to be the author of that story, the composer of its music, the singer of its song, the dancer of its dance. I must do all of that myself with regard to my own personal life and what that is and what that looks like. So since I am writing the story of my life, and the unique thing about that is I get to write it every single day, pages every day, a new chapter every day. And it never ends. From the moment I come in, I'm birthed into this experience until my rebirth into the next one, it never ends. Every day I'm adding more pages and more chapters to that book. It's a never-ending story. And it will become one of my books in the eternal library of my life. So what is it going to be? What kind of a story is it going to be? If right now at your life right is in this moment, if you were to title it, what would the title be? My life, the great adventure. My life and all of its rich blessings. My life and the amazing discoveries I have made. My life from the highest point of view. My life as the greatest disappointment ever. My life as the most amazing comedic tragedy. My life as the most amazing mess up. My life as the grandest soap opera, etc. You get the idea. What would your title be for your life just now if you had to put a title on the book of your life? And you don't have to title it yet, but if you had to, for the purposes of just knowing where you're going, so that you could look at that, step back from it and say, well, you know what, I think I'll change the plot. Because understand, in the story of your life, you're not only the author, you're the editor, you're the proofreader, you're the publisher, and you are the main character. You're the lead part. And you've written up all the other characters in your story too. But the beauty of that is, you can, if right now you knew what the name of your story was, it would be the key to you revisiting the plot and making some very transforming changes in your story, in your script. So that when you get to the conclusion, it's going to be a great, grand, thrilling finale of great delight and wonderful, wonderful outcome. And here's the thing about it too. If all the characters you have put into your story, in your life book, were to write their own life story, how would they feature you? Would they feature you as a protagonist, an antagonist? Would they feature you as the villain or the hero? Would they feature you as the great success or the great flop? How would they feature you, these other characters that you have in your life story? What part do you think they give you in the story of their lives? How would they perceive you? It's a good question. How would the members of your family title your book? And all those friends that are near and dear to you, how would they title your book? If you said to them, what do you think would be a good title for the book of my life? What do you think they would offer? These are interesting questions that are very worthwhile asking ourselves. Very worthwhile questions. And so, how would we go about creating a life story that would be a thrilling delight, a fabulous adventure, one of those books that you cannot put down until you get to the end of it? I love those books. They're few and far between, but I tell you, they just take up every moment of our lives. And the only way some of us get to read books like that is to steal a few hours from the night. and read into the wee hours in the morning. Remember when you were a kid and you were under the bed with the flashlight and you were reading under your covers rather, and reading your story, and until your mother again knocked at the door and said, "Did I not tell you to turn out that light," or whatever. "Put that thing away and go to sleep." Those kinds of stories are fabulous. They are fabulous. And for me, I have discovered that what makes a story delightful, thrilling, and wondrous is an attitude. And that attitude is the attitude of being able to say yes to life. Yes to life. To grow a yes attitude. Because most of us have already gotten into the bad habit of a no attitude. And that's why little children wear those bibbies that say, "My name is no, 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 no." And we pick it up at that early age, you see. So it is a yes attitude that can help us write a beautiful thriller. And a yes attitude is one that's open to life. It is expectant of life to be a wonderful good thing. A yes attitude is an attitude of vim and vigor and zest and enthusiasm. It is an attitude that shows up in your face as you move through the marketplace and at home and abroad. It shows up in your face in the energy of your body and the hop, skip, and jump in your step. A yes attitude is an attitude that is not afraid of risks and is open to every opportunity that comes its way. Never fails. It receives what's given to it, and it works with that. A yes attitude is an attitude that can discern the difference between facts and fiction, and are not bothered by either, but always embraces the truth courageously. A yes attitude is an attitude of great thanksgiving and gratitude. It's an attitude of blessing. A yes attitude is an attitude of wonder and awe at the great creation of it all. It's able to perceive the lilies, and it's able to perceive the flowers, and it's able to be appreciative of nature's sounds and tones and textures and beauty and grace. That's a yes attitude. It's a live attitude. And because it is an alive attitude, it sees everything as living, everything as vibrant, everything as opportunity, everything as possibility. And it's able to always go that extra mile. Because the yes attitude is an attitude of wonderful, willing, able service wherever it finds itself. A yes is always in service to life and living, always. No is not. And if you know the difference between those energies, as you're walking around one day on your own, at home or out in the garden, just go around saying, "No, no, 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 no," and feel the energy of that no. And then go around saying, "Yes, yes, 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 yes," and feel the energy of that yes, and the vast difference between the two. The vast difference between the two. But the one we begin to know with, first and foremostly, is ourselves. No, 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 I can't. No, 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 I can't. A yes attitude is able to understand and appreciate that the pessimist will say, "I can't do it." And the optimist, again, will say, "I can do it." And the procrastinator will say, "I'll do it tomorrow." But the activist will say, "I've already done it." And yes is an action-packed word. It's an action-packed word. I remember years ago, as I was sharing this morning, I heard a man on the television being interviewed, and he was a very, very, very wealthy man indeed, as the world goes. And not only was he wealthy, but he was happy. He was content. He was enjoying his life. He loved every day of his life. And when he was asked what the secret was, what the key was to that, he said, "Well, the secret for me," he said, "is I have always endeavored to say yes as much as I possibly could every day of my life. I've always tried, and I still do, to say yes when I genuinely can say yes. And I am extremely slow to say no. And if I have to, I find another way of saying, not just now, can't do it at the moment, but here's what I can do. Can't do that just now, but I can do this. So, yes showed up in his life over and over and over again. And because he said, I have said yes to life every day of my life, life has amplified that yes back to me. And it's a small story with a big lesson. I mean, think about it. Think about the energy of yes. If you and I are yesing enough every day, we'll always feel good. Think about the energy of no. If you and I are knowing enough every day, then we will not feel good. Because it has to do with affirmation or negation. I am either affirming or I am negating. I'm doing one or the other in my mind, in my heart, in my body, in my being. I'm either on the negative side of life or the positive side of life, and I cannot be in both places at the same time. I was thinking about all of these archetypal stories because I'm thinking about life as a story. And I'm thinking about, things like The Lord of the Rings and Star Wars and Harry Potter. And oh my gosh, some of those would wear you out. There's so many battles and wars and light and darkness and good and evil. And you can hardly pause. Especially if you've seen The Hobbit, it's one battle after another. My goodness me. Never-ending battle. That's in all of the character stories there. And all that is, it's a great archetype. It's a wonderful, metaphor for what goes on in you and what goes on in me. That's not just going on in the screen. All of that goes on in you, goes on in me. It's the battle between yes and no. It's the battle between negation and affirmation. That's what all of that is. All of those horror stories are right here. All of those great light stories of triumph and victory and light overcoming the darkness is right where you are. It came out of minds. These stories came out of minds. And it couldn't come out of minds if the experience wasn't there. I'm telling you, we have that ongoing in us all of the time. And for those of us who are not paying attention, let me tell you, the darkness is going to appear to win over the light. That's the appearance. And that darkness will show up in all kinds of ways in our lives, with all the no's that we experience. First and foremostly, the no's we say to ourselves, and then the no that life says to us in the form of whatever persons, places, and things. So we have to be very mindful about our attitude in life, because it's all about attitude. And what is attitude? It's a feeling. What is feeling? It's an energy. What is energy? It's a power. It's a force. And it drives our lives. It's a vehicle that drives our lives, whatever that is. So if we came into the sanctuary this morning with, an attitude less than, then the opportunity is given to us in this moment now to make a decision, to decide differently, to enter into a contract with ourselves, to enter into a new agreement with ourselves, to enter into a promise to ourselves that we will keep and maintain. And I say to us all, I really say this deeply, do not make a promise to yourself or anybody else if you know you're not going to keep it. Because every time you break a promise to yourself, you're whittling away at your self-trust, your self-esteem, until eventually you've broken so many promises you can't trust yourself at all. And you're left with very little self-esteem. So only make promises that you are intending to keep. And all of us know who we are. Those of us who tend to make promises and don't keep them. Same thing like New Year's resolutions. Don't make them if you know it's just a thing to do, a habit that means nothing. It's not going to happen anyway. You're not going to adhere to whatever it is you're committing to anyway. Don't. Don't. You'd be better off not making any promises than making them and breaking them. Because that doesn't come from a yes attitude in life and living. Oh, my dear ones, the places that you and I can go. The places that you and I can go when we're coming from affirmation of life. Where does affirmation in life come from? It comes from a conscious connection with your source. It comes from understanding that there's something greater than I am on the journey of my life with me, in me, and moving through me. And when I know that, I don't care whether I have maps or compasses or anything else, because I have my own guide within me. It's pure wisdom itself, all knowledge itself, understanding itself. And I don't have to be concerned that I don't have the outer accoutrements so that I can travel on my journey. Oh, but we're so attached to the stuff and things. We join the gym. I'm going to do it this time. I'll stick with it. We get the great gear. We get all the stuff. We arrive feeling absolutely great because here I am. I must be doing it because I'm dressed for it and I have all the gear. I have all the gear. Look at me. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm showing up. Yeah, well, you know, I've signed up for 3 years, because now 2 years or whatever they make you sign up for. And yes, I go every year, once a year. I've done that. I've gone once a year for 3 years. In a certain gym that I will not mention, because trying to park a car there was like being in the dodgems. It was like, you know, rollerblading wars or something, you know. It was like the little old ladies at Christmas are trying to park at Trader Joe. It was that kind of thing, you know. Tawanda, you know. That was one of the reasons why I went once a year. I could only cope with it once a year. But as well as that, I learned from doing that twice, not once, twice, that didn't work for me. That just didn't work for me. So now I just stand at home on my glider and I glide for an hour every day is my commitment. And I'm watching whatever it is I wanted to watch on the television. And let me tell you, the TiVo is full to capacity. I think I'm going to watch so many things, and, you know, there you go. And they're all, you know, they're good things like Downton Abbey or whatever. Nothing. I only watch safe TV. I don't watch all the killing and mayhem and so on and so forth. No. And if I'm really needing to, you know, lighten up and so on, I'll put on a harmless thing like the Food Channel or something like that, even though at the moment I'm restricting myself deliberately from most of what I'm watching. But nevertheless, it's what I call mindless television. It looks nice, and some of the characters are very interesting. See what I'm saying? So what you're feeding your mind is showing up in your life, whatever that is. And as I say, there's no such thing as an insignificant thought. There's no such thing as an insignificant thought. Every thought is an act of creation. I'll say it, and I'll say it, and I'll say it. Every thought is an act of creation. You're creating something when you're thinking. Best to know what it is you are creating as you're thinking, so that the book of your life can have a really very happy ending. I mean, why not? You're the writer of it. You're the author of it. You get to pen it. I mean, how lovely it is when we're in that mode of open receptivity to life, when we're alive in our living, when we're tuned in and switched on and mindful and alert and awake, and we're just knowing that some great thing is about to happen by means of me being present to it and open to it and wanting it and inviting it and saying yes to it, because that's how life is. You're only here for one reason and reason alone, so that Spirit can celebrate its own greatness and goodness and amazing creativity by means of you. That's all. Now you can either give it full expression or not. It's up to you. So why don't you join me along the dancing road of life. Let us dance down that road of life together with a song in our hearts, the song of love in our hearts, to the tune of peace and joy, and with the energy of delighting in showing up in service. Oh, the places that you and I can go. There's no end to those places. And then dancing down the road of life with full glee and wonder and awe and open receptivity to it all, knowing there's always a pony in there somewhere, there really is. And getting excited about that palomino. I love palominos. It's an amazing thing. You can put your pen down then at night. You can go into a sweet sleep and be inspired for your writing for the next day. Wake up the next day ready and raring to get going because your life is so good. You're sorry you even have to sleep at night because you want to be fully in it. That's how good your life is. You cannot wait to get up in the morning and get into that life and living and get going and be open to all the good that's there for you that you are supposed to have. Why? Because the universe always says yes. The universe always says yes. The universe always says yes. And so it is.
We invite you to experience Dr. Moira in person on Sundays. Our services are at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., and childcare is available. Please join us. If you enjoy these messages and would like to make a donation to our center, please visit our website at redondocsl.org. Thank you for your support of this ministry.